Will G.J. Kinne and the Texas State Bobcats live up to the high expectations in year 2? It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. We continue our trip around spring practice around the Sunbelt. We have the head coach of the Texas State Bobcats, G.J. Kinne. He talks about jumping into a river. We talk about the QB shuffle, if you will. He used a different word than I did. Apparently, I'm getting credit for the Sunbelt Player of the Year transferring to San Marcos. And as I mentioned, trying to live up to those year 2 expectations. He is the head coach of the Texas State Bobcats. He is G.J. Kinne on Locked On Sunbelt. Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. We're continuing our spring football tour of the Sunbelt. We welcome back the head coach of the Texas State Bobcats, G.J. Kinne. Coach, thanks very much. Let's get you're in the middle of spring ball. Yeah. Let's get a quick recap of what's going on there.
Yeah, we're almost done. We got our spring game on Saturday. We got one more real practice on Tuesday. Got a walkthrough on Friday. Get after a little bit on Saturday, and got a Crawfish Boil on Sunday. I know, you'll appreciate that in your neck of the woods, So, so we're excited about that. Really, really excited about kind of where we're at as a team and really in all 3 phases. So, just an exciting time right now to be a Bobcat.
All right, so we'll jump into it a little bit quicker than I wanted to, but you brought in the Sunbelt Player of the Year, Jordan McCloud, sort of fell into your lap. And how long is he there yet? How does that work? Did you do spring ball without him? How does that work with the portal and trying to finish up a semester in spring ball and all?
Yeah, we couldn't have got him without you. I mean, I didn't even know about him until you tweeted it. So I didn't, one of those days. No, he's been here and he's in school and going through practice and he's been awesome. Great person, obviously a really good player, really good system fit for us. And, he's got a lot of confidence about him. He's the Sunbelt Player of the Year and won a bunch of ball games. And so we're excited about him. He's done a really good job so far, really getting in there and developing those relationships with the players offensively and defensively. And those guys are rallying behind him. And he's had a terrific spring and a couple more practices with him before, really that kind of break before summer starts.
So how long does it take someone like that to pick up the offense? It's the verbiage. I mean, an in is an in, an out is an out. A QB draw is a QB draw. But how long does it take somebody like that to learn the offense?
Yeah, I think for us, because the rules are different now, you can have those walkthroughs and the meeting times, and you have the ability to get with your players a little bit more on football now with the new rules. So before that first spring practice, he was ready to go. Now, I don't know if he could have played a game, but right now for sure he could play a game, and he's ready to go. And he's really smart though. I mean, a lot of credit to him and Coach Leftwich, our offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and getting in there and really diving into the playbook. And we don't run a overly complicated system, but you do need reps with all the options that the receivers have and the different RPO rules and the box numbers and just kind of getting, comfortable within, new footwork and all that kind of stuff. But man, he's been awesome. And you see his leadership every day at practice. So that's been fun to see.
Talking to G.J. Kinne, head coach of the Texas State Bobcats. All right, let's go back to last year. A big word around here, for whatever the case may be, is consistency. Yeah. I presume that's what you're preaching there, because you had some big-time wins starting off with Baylor. You end up losing to UTSA. You reel off 3 in a row, lose to the Cajuns in a game you probably should have won, come from behind victory over Monroe. You allowed a 77 spot to Arkansas State, but then you almost scored 100 in the last 2 ball games. Talk to us about the highs and lows of last year, because obviously there were plenty highs, winning 6 ball games, going to and winning a bowl game.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that, the consistency aspect of it, and that's what we've been preaching every day since the offseason began, and a lot of that has to do with discipline and coaching. And I think anytime you bring that many new faces in year one, new coaching staff, new players, you're going to have a little bit of that. So now we got more guys returning, and I think ball security is going to be huge for us on offense. I think third down defense is going to be huge for us. And just on both sides of the ball, continuing to elevate the football IQ is something that we really talked about in our every day we have a team meeting, show good ball, bad ball, and really kind of diving into the football intelligence aspect. Last year we were just trying to figure out who's going to be here. Now we're able to dive in a little bit more on the smaller details.
And what did you learn as your first year as a head coach in the Sun Belt? Obviously, you had some success elsewhere. Incarnate Word, lighten up the scoreboard. I love the idea. You came in, we're going to light up the scoreboard, and you did.
Yeah. I think there's really good coaches, really good players every week. Not to name any teams that previous places, but every week there's no cupcakes. You got to bring it, every Saturday or Friday or Tuesday or Thursday. Got some cool games this year. So you got to bring it every game. So, like I said, really good coaches, really good players, really cool atmospheres. Love the Sun Belt and really everything it's about.
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's really easy to provide those examples, right? And he should have beaten the Cajuns, right? Struggled against ULM. I think Arkansas State put up like 28 points without their offense being on the field. So that game spiraled out of control. So it's not too difficult to prove home that point to your current players.
Exactly right. And they knew that, and they know that. And so we're working to prevent, a little bit more consistency this year.
He is G.J. Kinne, head coach of the Texas State Bobcats. All right, so from afar, and we don't need to necessarily go into any specifics, but I just want your general feeling about, the QB shuffle that happened, right? You had a quarterback that you were waiting for to come back, so you had to go get somebody else. Then the quarterback came back. Then the other guy transferred in. Then your quarterback transfers out. Then the other guy leaves, and then you have to have somebody else. I mean, your head must have been spinning for a good – it felt like it was a 2-week time period, but it could have been like 3 days for all I remember. And then about 2 weeks later, as we mentioned, you could have used Jordan McCloud, right as Del McGee was getting the job out at Georgia State. It's like, well, Jordan McCloud's still available. And then all of a sudden you guys scooped it up. What was that time like as the head coach of Texas State? I wouldn't have been able to concentrate on anything else. I'm sure you have to look at the big picture, but that was a major picture, and the quarterback shuffle going on over there in San Marcos.
Yeah, obviously a little chaotic, but one thing to point out, for sure, we had good quarterbacks on the roster. We knew PJ Hatter was here. We knew we had a young freshman coming in with Brad Jackson, who's a really good player. So we felt like we had good quarterbacks on the roster, and if we could find the right person, then we would obviously add him and try to get him here for spring ball. And we were able to do that. And I want to give a shout out, to our compliance, our administration, and everyone involved that was able to get Jordan in here and so quickly. And it's one of those deals where, we ended up getting the Sun Belt Player of the Year at quarterback. So, and like I said, thanks to you. I couldn't have done it. Like I didn't know who he was, and you tweeted about him, and I'm like, boom, here we go. That's him. Let's go.
I'm gonna go find my tweet. And when Texas State wins the Sun Belt this year, I at least want a cap. I don't know about a ring, but I'll take the cap.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Bobcats head coach G.J. Kinne about jumping into a river. Apparently his was a good one. Others may not have been. And what it was like taking down the Baylor Bears, and when did he know he had a shot to get that big win in his first game as the head coach of the Bobcats. We'll do that right after I tell you about Gametime. Gametime is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets. Last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Flash deals. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Get the lowest price guarantee or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Gametime ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, LOCKEDONCollege, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Let's get back to our conversation with the head coach of the Texas State Bobcats, G.J. Kinne. He talks about what winning did for the fans in San Marcos and when he knew that he had a shot at upsetting the Baylor Bears. That's funny. All right, so we're talking to G.J. Kinne, head coach of the Texas State Bobcats. All right, so let's talk about the highs from year one, because I mean, people are jumping in rivers. It's fans, it's media members, it's presidents of universities. Did you jump in the river? And what's it like when? Because sports is like the one thing where I mean, you can't get 8 people to tell you it's Wednesday today, right? Or in the case, this may be Thursday, or it's raining outside or it's sunny outside. But sports is one of those things that brings a community together. What was it like seeing the San Marcos community brought together because of what you did and what the players did in the Bobcats? I mean, people must have been ecstatic. I'm still thinking, I remember like they ran out of beer at the first half of the bowl game because they weren't prepping for San Marcos, for Bobcats fans going and drinking as much as they did. Oops.
Yeah. It was definitely a very fun year. Like you said, some ups and downs, but obviously beating Baylor week one, new staff, new players, a lot of question marks. Staying in Texas, talking about take back Texas and getting the opportunity to beat a in-state opponent, Power 4, Power 5, whatever, however that works now. And on the road, my brother played on the team. My dad went there. And so it was a pretty special game for me, and going out there and getting that win was huge, and getting bowl eligible and beating a really good Georgia Southern team at home, who was really hot at the time. And their quarterback was from this area. And so a lot riding on that game, and getting the opportunity to just see the reaction of the administration, president, and the whole fan base getting to jump in the river that night was awesome. One thing I do want to point out that it has been noted that Don Coryell's jump was actually my jump, and he just kind of hopped in. I did a can opener full, and so mine was a good jump. Don's was very average, so we got to point that out. That my jump was a real jump. So
on point.
That was a really fun night, and getting the guys in the river and doing that whole deal was really cool, and then getting the opportunity to play in that bowl game. And that's what I told, the guys the whole time, is like, these bowl games, yeah, I know we qualified and all that, they're only fun if you win. And so that was kind of the message the whole time, and getting to play another in-state opponent, a quality opponent that had some big wins and it was really close in some games, and getting to play an American team in Dallas, where I'm from. So that part was that was really cool, and really kind of putting it on them. I got close there for a little bit, but that was fun. And man, it was just a special season, and you could kind of just feel, this off season, it continuing to build the momentum, and people really excited and willing to help. And so it's been a good off season, obviously chaotic there for a little bit, but it's been a lot of fun. And I've really appreciated these last couple of weeks, just being with the team and spring ball and getting to concentrate on football for the most part. And so just, I think guys are, and the fans and everyone's just really excited to get going here.
Talking to G.J. Kinne, head coach of the Texas State Bobcats. All right, I'm going to see if I can get a truthful answer out of you. All right, so as the head coach, you're going to try and convince everybody that you can go in and beat Baylor, right? That's your job, right? You have to believe. If you don't believe, they're not going to believe. Okay.
Yeah.
When did you really think? When did it really hit you that we got a shot here? Was there something that happened in the first half? Was it a play in the third quarter? Or like, when did it really hit you? Like, not that we're going to do it, but we got a real shot to actually win this football game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I really did believe before the game, but then I think your question is more about, during the game.
Sure.
I think when we were able to start, running the ball and, getting that first touchdown and kind of seeing how they were playing us, I was like, okay, we got a chance here. So, and obviously it was then at that point it was holding on and game management stuff. But pretty early on in the first quarter, I was like, all right, we're gonna have a ball game here. And I thought our defense, the way we were able to stop the run, I think anytime, you're able to run the ball offensively and then you feel like you can stop the run defensively in a game like that versus a big time opponent, then all right, you got a chance.
Talking to GJ Kinne, head coach of the Texas State Bobcats, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. All right, so we were talking about the quarterback, but one of the guys that is coming back, Ishmail MTI, I'm going to guess had some opportunities, had a great season for the Bobcats. How important was it for him to return, and what's he been like, I presume, taking a leadership role here in spring ball?
Yeah, he's been awesome. I mean, he goes and has lunch with the president and getting NIL deals left and right. I mean, he can be the mayor here. I mean, he's loved here by the community, by the fan base, and just a great kid. And I think one thing that was really special about Ish that people don't know is he was banged up. He hurt himself in the Louisiana game. I don't want to get into too much details, but a lot of people would have, missed some weeks and he, fought it out and played through some injuries and had an All-American season and just a special player, special person. And so really, really excited to get him back and he's looked special again this spring. And I think I'm really excited about the running back room, in general. You get a guy like Lincoln Perry back. You got a transfer from Washington State that we knew previously in Jalen Jenkins. And you got the UTEP guys with Torrance Burgess and Deion Hankins. And, I mean, you got, multiple running backs in that room that has played at a really high level. And so I'm excited about that running back room.
All right, so let's talk about some other positions that need to be filled. Who has stood out in spring ball, and what positions, either were filled by the transfer portal, will be filled by the transfer portal, or guys that had maybe seen some action off the bench are expected to contribute this year?
Yeah, I think I know I touched briefly on the quarterback position, but I think PJ Hatter and Brad Jackson are two really good players that can play at a high level and we can win football games with. I think we have a ton of talent coming back in the offensive line room. So that's always good, a good feeling.
Well, that's key. That's key. Yeah.
That's key. And we've added some good pieces in that room as well. And some guys that maybe took a year to redshirt and kind of learn the system and develop a little bit, whether they were high school kids or portal kids that are having good off seasons here for us. The receiver room, obviously you got Joey Hobart back, you got Cole Wilson back, and we got a couple of younger guys and a couple of transfers that have, kind of stepped in some roles. So I think that's been good. Connor Fox at the tight end room is a staple in there and had a really good off season. And he was banged up, quite a bit last year. So having him healthy for the spring really changes our offense. Anytime we can have that, tight end that is a threat in the run game and pass game, it always helps us out. We want to be an 11 personnel team. And at times last year, we had to be a 10 personnel team because of injuries. So I think, I feel really good, where we're at offensively. Obviously, I think defensively, maybe the question marks from you guys out there. But I feel really good about the defense. I think we addressed a bunch of needs, and we have a bunch of really good players coming back defensively. So I think we just have to continue to work on the small details and the consistency that you're talking about. And obviously we have a new defensive coordinator, Dexter McCoy, who's done a tremendous job this offseason and putting some tweaks on a defense and someone I've known for a long time. I played with him at Tulsa and he's a former NFL player. And so his experience there and the relationships that he has with the guys on the team is special. And so that part's been fun as well, kind of seeing his growth as a defense coordinator.
Let's take one more time out. When we come back, we'll wrap up our conversation with Texas State Bobcats head coach G.J. Kinne. He talks about tweaking the offense and how to live up to those big year 2 expectations. Will probably be the favorite, at least in the Sun Belt West. We'll do that right after I tell you about FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL, and baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Can the Pelicans win 2 of the next 3 ball games? They probably can't get to 5th, but they can secure 6. And hopefully that's anybody but the Nuggets. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Let's wrap up our conversation with G.J. Kinne and the Bobcats. And although they have a new quarterback in Jordan McCloud, how do they tweak the offense, not only overall, but for Jordan McCloud, and trying to live up to those what are going to be very big expectations in year number 2. And so, all right, so now let's talk about the offense. How do you self-coach? How do you tweak what you did last year? Because everyone's got film on what you did last year. They got film on Jordan, and so they'll mesh it. How do you go about, trying to figure out your tendencies and, not doing them and then there's other things that, all right, if we do that, they can't stop us type of deal. We just have to be better at it. So how do you self-evaluate and self-coach the offense and make tweaks to that moving forward? That always interests me, no matter how good people are.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a new quarterback, which we will,
right,
no matter who it is, I think you have to cater your offense around the quarterback first and foremost. So we'll continue to gather the strengths and the weaknesses of the quarterbacks and have a good feeling, kind of what those are now after 11, 12 practices, whatever it is of spring. So your offense will always be a little different year in and year out. And obviously you have new coaching members, Chad Morris coming over that I have a long relationship with. And he's very familiar with, what we do and maybe some new stuff he had to learn, but kind of diving back into some old stuff and kind of seeing, some things that maybe we did at Tulsa in 2010 or some things we did at SMU. So he's obviously a wealth of knowledge and has been a awesome addition for us. Barrick Neely, a running back coach, played here, a Texas State legend. And so he's bringing some new ideas. So you're always going to have to tweak your offense like you're talking about and kind of really figure out, what fits based off your personnel. But I think the day 1 install and day 2 install and is pretty much set. I mean, we kind of have what we have and we've been running it at a high level for a while now. So I think it's one of those deals where, get good players and run a sound scheme. We'll feel like we have those 2 things. So we're excited about kind of the direction we're headed.
I can't tell you how shocked I am to hear a former quarterback tell me that the offense has to be maintained around the quarterback.
You got to. I mean, it's just one of those deals where it just makes sense if maybe a strength of Jordan's is this, and maybe a weakness of Jordan's this. So we have to figure out what those are and continue to work on the weaknesses, but really play to the strengths once the game time happens.
All right, let's wrap things up with the head coach of the Texas State Bobcats, G.J. Kinne, on Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Expectations for year 2 are sky high. As we mentioned, you get the Sunbelt Player of the Year coming in at quarterback. You have some turnover at coaching and at quarterback with Troy and South Alabama. We'll see what happens at quarterback with the Cajuns. Arkansas State has their up-and-coming freshman. You know all about it. Now going to be a sophomore. You know all about them. The Sun Belt West will be very difficult, but the expectations are that, Texas State is the proverbial leader in the clubhouse, mostly on, who you brought back, Mahdi, and now McCloud bringing in, and everybody else who has left. How do you deal with that? I already saw you tweet it out, we'll say yesterday, because someone picked you to, get to the college football playoff with the Sun Belt Championship, and you went all Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin with the rat poison. How do you get these guys to believe and at the same time get them level-headed to know they still have to put the work in to achieve what many people will think, could be a Sun Belt contending championship team?
Yeah, I think it's just exciting, kind of where we were at last year. No preseason players and all conference players and all that, to kind of now being the favorite and everyone's picking you to do this and that. So I think it's just, you got to ignore the noise and just focus on getting better. And I think our players will continue to do that. And we have a bunch of really good players with high character and great guys, and got a great chemistry with the team right now. And same with the coaches. So we're just going to go to work and continue to control what we can control. And we will be excited to, obviously we have our non-conference, but get into that conference game and start off with Troy, on the road, ESPN. So that'll be a fun one for sure that we'll have circled.
All right, so one more question. You said you're wrapping up with the spring game and a crawfish boil. What went into the decision with the crawfish boil compared to the barbecue?
Yeah, we do it every year as a staff, and
okay.
That was UIW, and then year 1 at Texas State, you're trying to figure out the budget. Now year 2, you're like, hey, you're picked for all this. Let's get the team involved with the crawfish boil. So it'll be fun. We'll do that after the spring game and just kind of get everyone together and kind of a celebration of the spring and get them around your families and crawfish it's a social food and it's exciting time to just get out there and hang out with your guys and get them around your family.
Make sure the guys who don't understand do not rub your eyes after you do the peeling. You get a little protection there. Also, do you get any downtime? I know it seems like it's 24/7, 365. The portal's open. The guys are going to be going in it, guys coming out of it, whatever the case may be. Do you get any downtime between now and fall camp?
Yeah, we'll get a little bit of downtime and spend it with our family. I'm expecting a third. So got a little girl on the way, and so that'll be late July, kind of right as we're ramping up for coaching school and then fall camp and all that. So we get a little bit of time there. But with the way the recruiting calendar is and a little bit more, you can have more time with them in the summer. It's tough, but hey, that's what we signed up for. And I enjoy the football part of it, especially as an assistant coach. I was always like, man, how many weeks we get off now as a head coach. I'm like, all right, 1 week here, 2 weeks, one of those type of deals. Let's get back to work. So it's, but it's good. That's one thing with our staff. We have a really cool staff, a really special staff, a young staff with a bunch of kids running around. So obviously I'm going to take care of them, make sure they see their family.
All right. He is G.J. Kinne, the head coach of the Texas State Bobcats. Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Congratulations on the addition to your family. All the best to you and your wife. That feels like that was some good family planning compared to, say, others who have babies in the middle of the season. Someone in Huntington had a baby during the season, and it was all up to the missus, as he even said.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at Sunbelt Media Days in New Orleans. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Once again, appreciate you for your tweet, man. Couldn't have done this without you.